Thank you, Your Honor. Please support. On May 9th of 2022, this defendant shot and killed Adreian Payne. Now, you're going to hear the evidence in this case, and it's going to show that this defendant was not acting in self-defense. He was not standing his ground. He arrived back to his house at about 1:30 a.m., and he saw the victim's vehicle, which he recognized, parked a few houses down from his residence, parked on the street. He approached the vehicle. They had a brief word, and then the defendant goes back inside his house. The victim doesn't follow. He never leaves the area of his vehicle, which is parked on the street. But the defendant goes to his house. He locates his firearm. He arms himself with that firearm, and he comes back out. Now, mind you, you're going to hear from the evidence in this case that the victim was not armed. He did not have a firearm. He didn't have any weapons. You're going to see there was a photograph of a kitchen knife on the passenger floorboard, but there was nothing that he used or threatened in this circumstance. He was not armed. He was parked at least 10 yards away from the yard of the defendant. The defendant arms himself in his home, comes back outside his home, finds the victim still by his car. He takes that firearm out, he points it, he takes deadly aim, and he shoots and kills the victim in this case. That's the fact that you're going to hear in this case. So, you're going to hear through the witnesses and evidence in this case that the defendant was driven home that night about 1:30 a.m. by his father. He had been in an argument with his girlfriend, Tatiana Mesa. And they were at a family party at the defendant's father's house. You're going to hear that Tatiana Mesa, the defendant's girlfriend, called her best friend, Tara Walker, who is the victim's girlfriend, and asked if she could come over to the residence. Tara Walker speaks with her boyfriend, the victim in this case, and he decides to come to the residence or the area of the residence as well as backup. They all get there. I guess the defendant arrives before Tara Walker, but she arrives shortly after, and the victim is already in his vehicle, parked on the street when he arrives. So the defendant had previously known the vehicle, as you're going to hear in the evidence, and he goes up and exchanges words. He's upset. You're going to hear from Tara Walker that the defendant appeared to be intoxicated at the time. Again, he didn't drive himself to his home. His father had driven him to his house that night. And, there's words exchanged, but that's not the point that the shooting happens. He takes the time, he goes inside, and he arms himself with the firearm. Now, you're going to hear from the medical examiner in this case, Dr. Marie Hansen, and she's going to tell you that the cause of death was the gunshot wound that went through the arm and the torso in this case, and that the manner of death was determined to be homicide. You're going to hear from several witnesses in the case, the primary one being Tara Walker, who was present and witnessed the shooting. And she's going to let you know, as I said, that the defendant appeared to be intoxicated, that he was upset, that he was belligerent. And I expect that you're also going to see some surveillance footage in this case. Now, the surveillance doesn't capture the incident itself, but there's a camera that's near a neighbor's camera that you can hear the shooting itself on the surveillance footage, and you can see the aftermath. And on that footage, you're going to be able to hear Tara Walker pleading with this defendant. Don't take your gun out. Don't take your gun out. We were called here. Don't take your gun out. You're going to see the defendant doesn't listen. He takes his gun out, he takes aim, and all in this moment he shoots the victim and kills him. Now, after that, you're going to see Tara Walker run to the area where the surveillance camera is located, and you're going to see the defendant's son, Adreian Dority, is running with her, and then ultimately the defendant comes out and calls his son into the house. Now, you're going to hear from Tara Walker, and she's going to tell you the victim didn't have a weapon, that he didn't threaten a weapon. The evidence in this case will be clear. This is not a case of self-defense. This is not a case of someone standing their ground. As was discussed in jury selection, in a self-defense or stand your ground situation, the facts matter. And the facts in this case are not someone defending themselves. They're someone being the aggressor, taking aggressive action, arming themselves, and committing a murder. And once you've heard the evidence in this case, we'll ask that you convict. Thank you.